let's start the session. I'll give an introduction about myself. I'm Priyanka. I am the product expert of Zoho Workplace. So I go around meeting customers both online and offline in order to bring about awareness about the workplace features and the security aspect. In today's session, especially, we will be seeing the security angle only. So with that being said, let me just share my screen. And just a confirmation, are you all able to hear me clearly? Is my voice audible to all of you? You can give me a thumbs up using the thumbs up button on the bottom. You can give that smiley icon and you can give me a thumbs up. Great. Awesome. Okay, so since I have that confirmation, let me just share my screen now. Just a moment. All right, great. So today's session is about empowering the future of work, and we have secure solution with Zoho Workplace. The agenda for today is going to be, we'll see an overview of Zoho Workplace, what are all the application that comes with Zoho Workplace, and then we will be moving on to data privacy and compliance. We'll be discussing about what are all the compliance we implemented and what are the regulations we have implemented in all the regions across the globe. And we will be discussing about data security, that is how we have designed the product in a way that all of the data is kept secure. And then we will be moving on to user access security. That is, as an organization admin, what can you do in order for you to restrict your users to use the platform in a certain way to handle the data in a certain way? Then you have security features. We'll be discussing some interesting security features we have, which lets you to send and receive data in a more secure format. All right. So that is the agenda for today. So we'll see the first topic, Zoho Workplace. So Zoho Workplace is a bundle that comprises of 8 different applications. First goes Mail Suite, Mail Solution. So the Mail Solution is not just an inbox, but it comes along with productivity tools as well. It has calendar, task, notes, streams, bookmark, etc. So this email solution it's going to be really, really useful for you, where you have a lot of collaborative features as well, and you can make use of features like email sharing, draft sharing, etc. in order for you to bond with your team. You can bring them in to work together in this email environment. And you also have Office Suite. Office Suite is Office editors to bring out the creative side of you. And this is quite user-friendly for you to use, and also has some advanced features such as text formatting, layout customization, collaboration tools, etc. And here you also have communication suite, such as if you would want to do direct communication with a person in an online platform, you also have that. You also have different modes of communication, such as audio calls, video calls, and screen sharing sessions. And you have Connect in order for you to have a social media kind of a platform in your company itself, that is intranet in your company. And you also have online meetings that you can conduct for your external participants for you to collaborate and work with them. So this is a nutshell of how Workplace works. And this unified dashboard is quite the catch. Here, if you can see, all of the apps that I discussed with you right now is already available with all the updates as well. So let's say you are using Zoho Workplace and you're opening the platform, and this will be the first dashboard that you see. Okay, you will see the latest update that is there in the particular apps, and with that you can plan the day better. With this bird eye view of all the applications together, you can schedule your day better, and you can prioritize, and you can improvise your productivity, right? So that's the unified dashboard for you. And now moving into the actual concept. Though Workplace has all the capabilities and it is quite affordable, we do not cut corners with the security aspect of the same. So we are compliant with the universal data privacy and security standards. Here in this picture, you can see the GDPR compliance. Yes, we haven't only implemented that in EU region, but we have also implemented that in all the regions across the globe. And you can also see HIPAA compliance. So that is the latest addition. And for all the health professionals out there, you would know the importance of HIPAA compliance. So we have made it to a priority that we follow these regulations in all the regions across the globe. And continuing with that, talking about data security, where we have made this as a priority. And you also have OWASP, which is the Open Source Web Application Security Project Standards, which has been implemented in the application layer of our organization services. So here, all the vulnerabilities, the 2021 latest update of all the 10 vulnerabilities have taken into account, and our softwares and services are designed in certain way that they are fortified, that they are safe from all of these vulnerabilities. And you don't have to worry about it at all. And all of these DDoS attacks, SQL injections, so all of this will be avoided, and you will be safe from all of these attacks. Then you have continuous log monitoring. So we have continuous monitoring with regards to event logs, operator logs, and more, in order for us to continuously monitor for anomalies as well. And yeah, so this is how we do data encryption. So all of the connections that we have, let's say the web access, the mobile applications, SMTP, IMAP, POP connections, all of this is mandated via the TLS, which is transport layer security. So here, all of the data is encrypted, and it is quite safe in that way. So there is no chance that there will be a third party which interrupts in between while the data is in transit and they try to tamper or loot the data. And when the data is at rest, that is when it is saved in the cloud services as well, it is encrypted using the 256-bit advanced encryption standards. So even when the data is at rest, it is quite safely kept encrypted, so nobody can access your data. And here you have data retention. So when a user terminates their account, okay, in that case, how many days will we have the data retained? It'll be for a period of 6 months, after which it will be deleted from the data center and from the servers. And also, we have backup data centers as well. So if something goes wrong with the primary one, the secondary comes into picture. So even from the backup, it will be removed after 3 months, subsequently after the 6 months period. Okay. And here, when an account is inactive, let's say the user has not paid for the subscription, and the account is kept inactive, after multiple prior notices given to them, we will remove the data after 120 days. Okay, so this is the data removal procedure that we follow. And for disaster recovery, so let's say there is an issue with the primary data center, then we have a backup data center which gets updated in real time, and the switch happens almost instantaneously, and the user will have no interruptions in the working process at all. They will never even know about this. So it'll be that easy for you. So we have backup data centers. So even if there is a issue that arises, you don't have to worry about it at all. And all our data centers are equipped with multiple internet service providers, so it should be no issues at your end. And then we have identity and access management. So we follow a single sign-on procedure where you will only have one set of credential for you to access all the services of Zoho. And here you just have to access once, and this will be useful for you to access all of the other services as well. And here we also have adaptive IP blocking. So for us to make sure it is actually you who's trying to log into the account, we also have implemented other security measures, such as I said, the adaptive IP blocking. When there is an unusual activity report, let's say if you are sending out bulk emails or malicious content, in that way, that particular IP will be blocked, the location will be blocked, and the account will be blocked. And you also have user device management for us to control. You have the ability to also make use of this, where you can control the way the users are making use of the product and the data. And here you also have custom password policy. So here you can customize the password policy in a way that it is stringent, and the users have to follow those steps in order for them to configure a password which is strong enough, and that again ensures their account security. And here we have a comprehensive authenticator app, Zoho One-Auth application, where you can use this to configure multi-factor authentication for your account, both Zoho and non-Zoho accounts. Okay, so making use of this adds extra layer of security to your account in addition to your login credential. And we support Touch ID, Face ID, push notification, OTP, and YubiKey hardware security key as well. Okay, so you can make use of this, and you can configure MFA for your account in order for you to improvise the security measures for your account. And Here is Zoho Mail. Zoho Mail is the flagship product of Zoho Workplace, which has won numerous awards when it comes to security. And here we also have significant features, some of which I already told you, which is mailbox delegation, folder sharing, email sharing, draft sharing. So these are all features which are quite interesting for you to collaborate and work with your colleagues using an email solution. And it is ad free as well, so you don't have to worry about any interruption while you work with your emails. And talking about this particular product, when it comes to security, we take a multi-layered approach towards this. So initially, when a mail comes into your organization, it goes through a DDoS and rate limiting protection. And once it passes that, then it goes through a real-time black hole list verification and spoof intelligence, and then the virus engine scans the email to detect if there is any virus files, and malware scan happens. And once after it passes this step, then it goes to the policy the set by the organization admins. So if they have configured some allowed list, blocked list, etc., then that verification takes place, and according to which the emails will be moved to spam or not. And if the emails have passed that verification as well, then it'll be moved to advanced threat protection, where phishing URLs will be detected if there are any. So phishing URLs are ones that are trying to loot some data from you and try to lure you into giving some sensitive information. So we will be detecting phishing URLs. Secure attachment policy is also enforced, where some vulnerable types are prohibited from entering into your inbox. So that is secure attachment policy. So according to that policy as well, the emails and the attachments will be scanned. And then you have spam fingerprint analysis. So here as well, the spam filtering, backscattering protection, RFC standard enforcement will all be applied to the mail. And you also have outbound protection, where user level protection, depending on the user marking of the patterns, the content protection, that is the sender, the subject, the content of the mail, depending on those configurations as well, a check takes place, and according to which the mail will be considered as a spam or not. And last of all, you have, once after the mail successfully gets delivered to the user's mailbox, even then you can configure some more scannings to take place, which we call it as post-delivery spam checks. And you can also expect time of click alerts to be triggered. So even when you click on the particular mail after it has successfully landed into your inbox, even during the time of the click, a scanning takes place to make sure if this is a malicious one or not. So this is the multi-layered approach that I wanted to discuss about in this slide. And moving on, here you have the DMARC policy, which is going to safeguard your organization from spoofing attacks. And when you receive a mail, it first goes through the receiver server, and there you have the SPF and DKIM validation. So depending on this validation, a report will be sent to your servers, and if it fails the validation, then the DMARC policy will be applied. And depending on your configuration, if you would like to accept the mail, quarantine the mail for moderation, or reject the mail, depending on your preference, the action will be taking place. And you also have another scenario: if the SPF or DKIM validation is done for the particular mail and has verified for the same, then the DMARC policy will not be applied, and it will be successfully delivered to the user's mailbox. So this is DMARC for you, which is an advanced measure of security level, that is to check for your mails if they are spoofed emails or not. And we also have other control mechanisms put into picture in the organization policy level. So here you have cousin domains, display name fraud, and malware processing. For you to configure all of this, all that you have to do is you have to enter into your admin console, which is this. And here on the left side, you have the security and compliance, clicking on which you can navigate to spam control. And here you have all the options available. You also have phishing and malware. That is where you will find cousin domains, display name spoofing, and malware processing. Under cousin domains, you can configure a domain that is legitimate. And if you are going to receive any domain that is similar looking to the domain that you've configured here, it could be marked as spam or moved to quarantine. And you also have display name spoofing. Here as well, you can configure the display name, which is legitimate. And if somebody is trying to fool you with the similar or same display name, but if the corresponding email address does not match, then again, you can configure this here. And when you receive emails with the same display name and it does not have the corresponding email address, it will be marked as spam. You also have malware processing available. So depending on the configuration you do here, malware scanning happens for your organization mails. So you can select webhooks, bulk emails, JavaScript, macros, making sure that none of these formats gets executed and they cause any malicious consequences. And you also have HTML tag-based spam checks where all of these factors or elements can be selected. So the scanning happens according to the configuration you have set here. So that is about cousin domain, display name fraud, and malware processing. And then you have spam processing. So for this, you have spam verification. So when you receive a mail, when you validate the mail for certain verification, only if it passes those verifications, it will be successfully landed into the user's mailbox. If they fail, it will be moved to spam, or depending on your preference, you can also reject it or move to quarantine. And here you have sender-based alerts. So depending on this configuration as well, the senders will receive alerts. I'll be letting you know what are all the alerts you can check. And you also have post-delivery spam checks. Post-delivery spam check is when a mail is sent to your organization, it will go through a server level check, a system level check, and then an organization policy level check. And then after which, when it comes and successfully gets landed into your inbox, then also it will conduct some scannings in order to make sure if there are any malware that is identified in the mail. So for example, all of this is found here under spam control, and you'll be able to find spam processing where you can see sender-based alerts. So depending on the sender, unauthenticated emails, external emails, or non-contact emails, you can configure alerts to be triggered for your users. Then you have post-delivery spam checks. Post-delivery spam check is once after the email is successfully landed into the mailbox of your users. If you would like to conduct scanning for 100 emails alone or even all emails, you can choose so. You have spam verification here, clicking on which you can see if at all the mail fails SPF verification or DKIM verification. You can choose to permanently reject or move the mails to quarantine, and you also have DMARC verification. So if the mail is going to fail DMARC verification, you can move it to spam or move it to quarantine. And then you have DNS blacklist verification also available. So this verification, what does it say is there are certain third-party websites who have data of all the spoofed and spammed emails and domains. And depending on that data, also we will do a comparison. And whenever emails come into our server and when it reaches our organization, the comparison takes place. And if it matches, then those emails will be considered as spam emails and spoofed emails, and they'll be moved to spam. Okay, you can also choose to move it to quarantine if needed. Okay, so this is spam verification for you. So we discussed about the sender-based alerts, spam verification, and post-delivery spam checks. Now, moving on to the next slide. So here you can see your mails verified for TLS, which means to reiterate this, we do use HTTPS, that is in the encrypted format of receiving and sending emails. So all of the emails that you send and receive during transit, it is absolutely encrypted. You don't have to worry about the tampering at all. And here you can see the confirmation for the same as well. Okay, on all of your emails, you should be able to find this. And moving on, you have set restrictions. So if you would like to set restrictions for your users in a way that the way they handle their email account, you shall also do that. Like first, you have individual user access that is available, which you can restrict. And you can also set up email policy for the entire organization as well. So how would you go about it is you have the user section where you can select the users for who you want to do these configurations for. And you can go into the mail settings and choose mailbox actions. There you will have all of these accesses which can be restricted for the users individually. You can choose incoming emails, outgoing emails. So if, let's just take for an example, if I'm going to disable this option, then this user will just not be able to send emails at all. I can also restrict such accesses for my users. And here in the, and then we were about to see the mail policy. So under mail settings, you have email policy available where you can set up the policy and then you can set up restrictions according to these categories such as email restriction, account restriction, access restriction, and forward restriction. So they are all vast topics. I would like to just give you an introduction of all of this is available in the admin console for you to enforce restriction for the user accounts in your organization as well. And then moving on to the next slide. Here we are to discuss about some of the interesting security features we have in our email solution. First is SMIME, which works with a certification. So you have to configure the SMIME certification in your account first, and you have to expect the recipient to also do so. Only then this will work, okay? And then when you send out the email is automatically encrypted, and on the receiving end, the person who has the certification configured will be able to automatically decrypt the email and read the email. So this process of encrypting and decrypting is what is going to add the layer of security to your emails. That is the first feature I wanted to discuss. The second feature is the secure pass email, where you'll be able to use it in your Zoho mail platform. So when you're trying to send a mail, you can apply this particular feature and send it. Okay. So when you do that, you have three different advantages that comes to your benefit. So first one is the OTP based access. So when you send a mail after applying this feature, whoever is trying to access the mail on the receiving end, they will have to type out an OTP which will be received following the mail, and then only they will be able to access the mail. The second advantage is restricts download, copy, and print. So whoever is receiving it will not be able to download, copy, or print or forward the email. Then you have set expiry date. So depending on the expiry date that you set, after which the person will not be able to access the mail entirely. Okay, so these are the three different advantages that comes along with the feature Secure Pass email. And the third feature that I would like to discuss is the pretty good privacy. Pretty good privacy works with keys. So you have to have a private key and a public key for you to work with this. You have to share the public key with the recipient, and the private key should be kept very private. Here, when you send a mail, you have to encrypt the mail with your private key, and then you have to send it. So whoever you're sending it should have your public key to decrypt the mail. They will use your public key, they will decrypt the mail, and they can access the mail. So this is basically how PGP works. And this, again, the encryption and decryption is what is going to add more security to your emails that you send. Okay. So these are the features that comes along with the email solution. Now let's see the next thing, that is email archival and retention. So for you to retain your emails, you have a separate portal called e-discovery available, where you can retain your emails for legal purposes and compliance purposes. So here you can use it for different purposes as well. If you would like to preview the emails that are sent across in your organization, you can preview them right from here. So depending on the retention policy you set, for those specific number of days, the emails will be retained in this platform and will be kept safe. And you also have backup available in this very platform itself, where you'll be able to recover the deleted emails all by yourself. So let's say the user has permanently deleted the email, then you will be able to back it up for them. Okay, so that's email archival and retention. And moving on, we moved on to the second product, which is Zoho Click. Zoho Click is a messaging application where you'll be able to converse with your organization users online without any issues. And here you have different modes of communications as well. You have audio calls and video calls. And if you would like to also talk about certain designs that you're trying to visually talk about as well, then you can screen share the session and you can have a contextual conversation about the same. And apart from that, here as well, you can conduct meetings, you can update your availability status. You have a lot more features in Click, but this is going to enhance the way you communicate with your organization users. That's for sure. And here, for security purposes, we have private chats. That is where you can also turn off the history. If you would not like some sensitive information to be saved in our servers, you can turn it off. And in addition to that, you can also set permissions. So for you to set permissions, you have different categories, which is roles and policies. So when it comes to roles, you can assign different roles. You can customize and assign it for your users. You can assign it for the particular organization users. And how does it look like is you can navigate to the Click Admin Center. And there, let me show you how these policies work. So first, you have user roles. So these two are the default roles available. So for you to configure an admin and set permissions for the same, you can click on permission and you can configure the permissions for this particular admin. And whoever you assign as an admin will abide to the configuration you have set here. So you can configure depending on the direct conversation, the conversations and the guest chats, internal tools that can be used, the integrations, and you also have live media, audio calls, the permissions to do these things. And you also have remote work, the messaging part, The click apps to be used on different devices can be mentioned as well. So depending on the configuration you do here, the admins, whoever you assign to be the admins, will be able to use the particular account abiding to the rules you've set here. You also have members. Here in the members also you can set different permissions according to which the users' accounts will behave the same way, and they will only be able to use the particular platform depending on the restrictions you've set. Okay, so here you can find all of the restrictions available where you can configure them and you can save them. Okay, so this is about roles, and you also have policies available. So for you to see policies, you can craft them according to your own preference. And here you can see the minute nitty-gritties, the minute accesses which can be restricted or it can be enabled. So let me just read out some here. You can allow the users to install only verified marketplace extensions. You can allow users to join external channels of other organizations. You can allow users to access networks created by other organizations. So all of these accesses, depending on your preference, you can enable it or disable it for the entirety of your organization. And then you have password policy, which you can configure. So this password policy, which we already discussed, but it is quite important where you can configure it right from here as well. So depending on which, the users will have to configure the password strong enough and they have to save it. And then goes the third application, Zoho WorkDrive, which is the file management solution that we have. So here it is a central repository for you to save all of your files and folders. You can create your personal folders, files, and your team folders as well. So when I'm talking about team folders, you can create a team. You can upload all of the files and folders, which is accessible by all of your team members. And here in this platform, the servers and the clients are connected through the secure socket layer. And this is also secured with the RSA-based 2048-bit encryption key. And to define the granular level of what access the users needs to have, you can also set permissions this way, letting them be a viewer, letting them be a commenter, editor, organizer, or an admin. So whatever preference that you give, according to which they'll be able to access the files and folders. So the way they handle the files itself is left to your choice. And you can monitor the team activity. So this is quite transparent. So when they are a part of team folder, you can exactly see what they've done with the files and folders, what they've uploaded, what they've deleted, what they've edited. All of that will be available in the team activity here for you to review. And you also have sharing links that expire. So if you would like to share an external link, and if you would like to password encrypt it and also set up an expiry date, it is quite available for you where you can password encrypt it and you can also set an expiry date. So when you do that, after the expiration period, they won't be able to access the file. And when you password encrypt it, they have to use the password in order for them to access the file again. And here you have request the user data. So depending on the data that you request, what happens? Whoever is trying to access the file will have to provide those details in order for them to access the data or the file. So here, where you see is you will be able to see who all have accessed that external link. So as you can see here, the fields that you've requested has been filled by the user, and depending on that, you will have knowledge of whoever has accessed your files. And then you have manage external links. So if you decide that this link should expire and this person should not be using that particular data anymore, then you can anytime revoke the access as well. So this is the advantage of this. So when you create an external link, they will not be able to access the particular data once after you decide you want to revoke the permission. Okay, so this accessing of the data is entirely at your choice as well. So if you would like to revoke it, you can revoke it at any time. And then you have transfer file ownership. So this is quite important as well, because when a person leaves the particular role or the organization entirely as well, the files and folders which were managed by them, it should be transferred to somebody else safely for them to take care of it. So this file transfer or file ownership transfer can be easily done at the admin level. So you just have to go to the data administration center, and there you have to choose transfer ownership. You have to select the particular file and select transfer ownership, and you can transfer it to the person who is available to take care of it. Okay, so this is that quite simple. And you also have WorkDrive app permissions, which you can give for your users. So you have to go to the settings and go to WorkDrive apps, where you can choose if the user should be able to access their files and folders using the mobile application, that is a WorkDrive mobile application, or rather if you would allow them to use the desktop sync, where they can sync their local files with the cloud storage platform, right? So this can be made available for your users depending on your preference. And you also have device management as well. So for you to manage the device of your users, you can also select the user's device, and you can give specific access saying this device can be allowed to use the mobile application or not, desktop sync application or not can be decided as well. So this is about managing devices when it comes to Zoho WorkDrive. So here you also have one important factor to be discussed. So if there is virus that is detected in the files and folders being uploaded or downloaded in your Zoho WorkDrive platform, then you'll be shown such an alert saying this file is detected with virus, and it will not allow you to download such a file. So you may have a doubt, how was this uploaded in the first place? So our virus engine is updated in real time. So all the signatures which compared with the files when it was uploading, it may not have detected it as a virus. But as and when the signatures are getting updated in the engine, that is virus detection engine, as and when it is getting updated. So when you want to download the file, the time of click again triggers a scanning. So this scanning can easily identify the virus files, and it will let you know that this particular file has virus, and it is not recommended for you to download. So with this information, you can stay safe from virus files as well. And then we are moving on to the fourth application, which is a meeting. So meeting platform works in a way that is WebRTC is used multi-point conference unit based architecture, where all of the streamed video conferencing is received from each of the devices in an encrypted format, and it is decoded, and then it is streamed in a combined format to be displayed in all of the devices. So since this is in the encrypted format, none of the video conferencing or the data is going to be leaked, or it is going to be tampered by a third party in between. And you also have restrict entry using passwords. So when somebody is trying to enter your meeting, you can lock the meeting in a way that you can, say only if I allow the person to come into the meeting, they should be able to join the meeting. And when you restrict the entry using a password, they need to have the password in order for them to join the meeting itself. And then you have privacy settings, which you can set up for your meetings platform, where you can anonymize as well. So when you enable this option, what happens is the data, that is the personal data that is collected, email address, the username, and the IP address during the webinar registration will be anonymized, and this cannot be recovered as well. So if you don't want to save unwanted information, if you want to be that stringent with the policy that you follow in your organization, you can also enable this option, which is going to be very handy for you. And you also have an action log viewer. So this platform is also quite transparent for you to see what are all the actions which were performed by the users, all listed out for you to have reference of the same. And here you also have data cleanup. So if you'd like to clean up the data, that is the recording and the session reports, you can also set it up in such a way that the data gets cleaned up all by itself. So yes, you also have unified DLP dashboard coming up. So this data leak protection or data loss protection is going to be very, very preventative, very, very going to be useful for you. So this is a configuration of a policy. Okay. So where you configure, and what happens is, depending on the configuration that you do, the algorithm works in a way that none of your users will be allowed to send any sensitive information outside the organization. The algorithm will be easily able to identify those expressions, and it will immediately quarantine those emails. And not just with the default policies, you can also set up the policy customized for your company as well. So you would have an expression or a pattern of the sensitive data that is specific to your company. So depending on that, you can set up the policy in such a way that none of your users can send out emails that contain sensitive information about the company. So that is DLP for you, which is coming up pretty soon. And here you also have an information where I would like to notify that there are no third party trackers that is there that we use. We have our own internal analytics tools which you don't have to worry about at all. And last of all, I suppose all of those who know about Zoho will know that we do not monetize with ads. So there are no ads that is shown in our services at all, and all of the data that is saved in our servers are belonging to the users alone and not to anybody else. So we don't own your data, you do, and we will never sell your data, and we will never do advertisements. So, with that being said, I'd like to end my session.